So good evening, everybody. This is the 91st session of the book club since the lockdown. So the book club Pune in the time of Corona today is 91 episodes old. And it is going to happen that by the time we finish the Shakespeare celebration in April, we will have done 100 episodes. And we sincerely hope that after that, we will not have to use that subtitle in the time of Corona. We hope the time of Corona will be over. And then we can just call ourselves the book club, pure and simple. Well, welcome everyone to the session today. We have Dr. Prabhanjan Mane joining us from Kolhapur. He's in the Department of English at the university there. And Eugene O'Neill is especially dear to him. He has studied him, he has taught him. So he is the person really to demystify this play for us. The play. Now I wonder how many of us present have read it. It's one of those plays I think that most of us have heard of, but most of us haven't read. So I think today is going to be a learning experience. Prabhanjan, where are you? I suddenly can't see you at all. So I'd like to hand the mic over to Prabhanjan. Okay, I have a feeling O'Neill, I would say, is the first great American playwright. Until he began to write, the plays that were staged in the United States were primarily British plays. So O'Neill is a bit of a landmark writer. With him begins American drama as such. And he was a giant of a figure. So many plays, fairly prolific writer. His plays have the stature of tragedy, which is saying a lot. So this is modern drama with the stature of tragedy. So over to you now, Prabhanjan.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. At the outset, I would like to express my gratitude towards this book club for giving me an opportunity to speak on Eugene O'Neill's very famous play, The Iceman, Cometh. For the sake of our convenience, I have divided my discussion in a few sections. Like, first of all, introduction, then I'll be dealing with a few biographical details of Eugene O'Neill, then historical context in which this play was produced, then obviously the plot summary, critical overview, themes, and style. Written in 1939, Eugene O'Neill's The Iceman Cometh was not produced until 7 years later, mainly because O'Neill was concerned that America was not only ready for the play's dark vision. When it was staged in 1946, the play received mixed reviews. By that time, O'Neill was already an internationally known playwright. In addition, the 1946 production marked the end because O'Neill, of almost a 12-year absence from Broadway, critics praised the play's passion, suspense, and well-drawn characters, but complained about the prosaic language, redundancy, and excessive length. The play runs for almost more than 4 hours. In 1956, The Iceman Cometh was received and it was revived, and this time widely acclaimed as a masterpiece of O'Neill that would ensure for O'Neill a place among the greatest of modern dramatists. There have been numerous revivals of the play scenes. The Iceman Cometh is noted for its dark realism, its setting, and characters closely resemble real life. The world of the play is a cruel place. Despair is a constant present, love only an illusion, and death something to which one looks forward. Relief comes in alcohol and pipe dreams, groundless hopes for a future that will never arrive. Some critics find hope in the character's uh, endurance. Others consider such a reading too optimistic, believing O'Neill's vision to be unremittingly dark. In spite of critical disagreement, however, the importance of the Iceman Cometh to 20th century theatre is undisputed. It is truly a modern classic, considered by many to be the greatest play by one of America's greatest playwrights. Before we proceed further, I would like to mention that uh, the Iceman Cometh, this play, was a part of my MPhil dissertation, and I worked for my MPhil dissertation under the guidance of Dr. Prashant Sinha. Now I would like to talk about Eugene O'Neill. A few biographical details of Eugene O'Neill. By the way, this is the playwright who received the 4 Pulitzer Awards and the Nobel Prize also for his contribution to literature. On October 16th, 1888, Eugene O'Neill was born in a hotel on Broadway in New York City. His father was a professional actor, and O'Neill lived on the road with his parents until he began attending boarding school at the age of 8. O'Neill's mother, born into an affluent family, was unhappy with the nomadic theatre life, which she considered less than respectable. Partly because of O'Neill's difficult birth, she became addicted to drugs. In 1903, she attempted suicide, and O'Neill, at the age of 15, learned for the first time of her addiction. That time, or that same year, he himself began drinking heavily in a pattern that would persist for almost remaining part of his life. O'Neill attended Princeton University, but a drunken prank resulted in his expulsion in 1907 after only 9 years of study. 2 years later, O'Neill married Kathleen Jenkins. The two had one child, a son, Eugene Jr., and Jenkins did not officially divorce until 1912. But within days of the marriage, O'Neill went to sea, traveling to Honduras and Buenos Aires, where he experienced firsthand the life of a penniless drifter. In 1911, O'Neill returned to New York, where he lived at Jimmy's the Priest, a saloon populated by drunkards and outcasts. Later in his life, O'Neill called Jimmy the Priest a hellhole and said of the establishment, I quote, "One could not go any lower," unquote. It was Jimmy the Priest with its atmosphere of failure, hopelessness, dashed dreams, and despair that, together with its miserable uh, uh, clientele, eventually became the model for Harry Hope's saloon in O'Neill's 1946 play, The Iceman Cometh. In 1912, O'Neill developed tuberculosis, and an event that became a turning point in his life. During the 5 months he spent in a sanatorium, he decided to become a playwright. He began reading modern playwrights and was particularly affected by the dark work of August Strindberg. I would like to mention here that August Strindberg became important influence on O'Neill. O'Neill studied plays, and he studied playwriting as well at Harvard University. For 1 year, he then moved to Greenwich Village, New York, where he became involved with an avant-garde. Am I audible?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. He became involved with an avant-garde group of artists and radicals. A number of these people later formed the Provincetown Players, the first group to promote a play of O'Neill's, Bound East for Cardiff in 1916. In 1918, O'Neill married Agnes Bolton, with whom he had 2 children, Shane in 1919 and Una in 1925. I would like to mention here that Una, his daughter, later married Charlie Chaplin. Okay. In 1920, O'Neill's first full commercial success, Beyond the Horizon, was produced, resulting the first of 4 Pulitzer Prizes for its author. That year also saw the production of The Emperor Jones, which focuses on the violence in human nature. In 1924, Desire Under the Elms, which reflected O'Neill's interest in Freudian psychology, it was produced. Later important plays in the O'Neill canon include the trilogy called Morning Becomes Electra, which was produced in 1931, and it was modeled on the ancient Greek playwright Achilles. Later, the autobiographical play Long Day Journey into Night, probably written around 1939 but produced and published after O'Neill's death, and the Iceman Cometh, written in 1939, produced in 1946, and considered by many to be O'Neill's greatest work. In 1936, O'Neill received, or he won, the Nobel Prize for Literature. Now we'll move to the historical context. I would like to talk about 2 important things. First of all, anarchy in the United States, and secondly, 1930s culture during which O'Neill wrote this play. First, anarchy in the United States. During the late 1800s, anarchy, the belief that all systems of government are immoral and unnecessary, was a serious political movement in the United States. Following the assassination of President William McKinley by an anarchist in 1901, anarchists were banned from entering the country. Nonetheless, the movement remained viable. Emma Goldman, perhaps the best remembered of the anarchists of this period, may have served as a model for Parrott's mother. Goldman was still quite active in 1912, the year in which the Iceman Cometh is set, but By the time O'Neill wrote the Iceman Cometh in 1939, Goldman had been deported to the Soviet Union, and in 1938, the House of Representatives had set up a committee to investigate so-called an American activities. The major movement of the radical left, anarchism, socialism, communism, etc., were not as strong as they had been in previous years. During the early 1930s, the first years of the Depression, with its worsening economic conditions, led many to turn to the radical left for solutions. But by the 1939, when O'Neill wrote the Iceman Cometh, the increasing success of labor unions, the reforms of President Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal, and the 1938 passage of the Fair Labor Standards Act made radical change seem less necessary. In addition, increasing military tension in Europe had begun to command the time and attention of America. German leader Adolf Hitler's 1939 invasion of Poland marked the beginning of Second World War. Although Americans now tend to romanticize the Second World War as a justifiable war that enjoyed popular support from the beginning, this was not the case in 1939. The radical left opposed US involvement in what they considered an imperialist war. But it was not only the left that had qualms about the American involvement. Shortly after Hitler's invasion of Poland, President Roosevelt announced in a radio broadcast, I quote, "This nation remains a neutral nation," unquote. It was not until the United States itself was attacked by Japan 2 years later, the December 1941 bombing of Pearl Harbor, entered the war. Now, as far as the historical context is concerned, the second point is 1930s culture. While Americans of the 1930s were dealing with the harsh realities of the Great Depression and the approaching war, much of the popular culture of the time provided a means of escape from the bleak reality of daily life. This is perhaps best exemplified by the films of the era, light entertainers such as Shirley Temple, the Marx Brothers, My West, were all popular in 1930s. In 1937, the first full-length animated film, Walt Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, was produced. The year 1939 saw the production of the fantasy film, The Wizard of Oz. The movie version of Margaret Mitchell's romantic Gone with the Wind, the most popular novel of the decade, was also produced in 1939. At first, this focus on escapism seems quite at odds with the bleak world of the Iceman Cometh. But the pipe dreams of the roomers, the drunkards in O'Neill's plays, A Dark World, reflect nothing so much as the decade's need for an escape from reality. Now, I would like to turn your attention to the plot of this play. This play is divided in 4 acts. The first act, I would like to deal with the first act. The first act of the Iceman Cometh opens in Harry Hope's saloon in the early morning of the day before Harry Hope's birthday party. Uh, the saloon is occupied by disheveled never-do-wells, most in their 50s and 60s. Also present are Rocky, the night bartender, and Harry Hope himself. All of the men sleep except for Larry Slade, a former anarchist. By the way, I would like to mention that many critics believe that Larry Slade is the protagonist of this play. As the curtain opens, at first we see Rocky, and Rocky sneaks Larry a free drink. Larry says he will pay tomorrow. Then remarks that all of the men have great plans for a tomorrow that will never come. That all are given hope only by the lie of the pipe dream. Larry claims to be the exception. He believes he has no pipe dream at all. He only waits for death. Rocky and Larry then speak of Hickey, Theodore Hickman, who comes every year for Harry Hope's birthday on one of his 2 annual drinking binges. He is known for buying everyone drinks, but also for the joking and laughter he brings to Harry Hope's saloon, especially his running gag about finding his wife Evelyn in bed with the Iceman. And that's why the title of this play, The Iceman Cometh. We'll talk about the title later on. As Larry and Rocky talk, the others awaken from their drunken slumber. All lead experiences built on drunkenness, poverty, and despair. But they also speak continually of their grand past and their ambitious tomorrow. Parrot, a young man who claims to be a friend of Larry's, enters. Larry continually stresses that Parrot means nothing to him. He was only a friend of the boy's mother when he was still a committed anarchist, dedicated to what he and Parrot now call the movement. Now, Parrot's mother has been arrested in the wake of a political bombing. Parrot escaped arrest, and as the young man talks, indications that he betrayed his mother to the police, and it becomes quite evident. One by one, the men in the bar talk about their plans for the future, but all are equally obsessed with getting their next drink. The prostitutes, Margie and Pearl, they enter, followed by Cora, another prostitute, and Chuck, who is the day bartender, he also comes. These characters reveal their own pipe dreams of respectability. The much anticipated Hickey arrives, jovial and generous to everyone. He, as soon as he comes, he reveals that he has stopped drinking. He explains he no longer needs alcohol because he has almost given up his pipe dream and found peace. He wants Harry Hope's rumors to do the same thing, including Larry, who is offended by Hickey's suggestion that the ex-anarchist has a pipe dream. Hickey falls asleep, and the rumors express their disappointment at the uh, change in his personality. Next act, Act 2. The saloon is now decorated for Harry Hope's birthday. This time, the situation is changed. The time is around midnight of the same day. Chuck, Rocky, and the three prostitutes are making further preparations for the party while complaining about Hickey trying to control not only the party but also the rumors' lives, insisting that each give up his or her pipe dream. Hickey enters and renews his attempts to bring the others the peace he has found. Hickey tells Larry that once he gives up his view of himself as a man who merely observes life, waiting for death, he will also find peace. The other people, the other characters enter, and all of them, they are determined to prove to Hickey that their plans for the future are not at all pipe dreams. Parrot enters and tries to speak to Larry about his mother, but Larry does not want to listen. When Parrot admits that he betrayed his mother to the police for a reward. As the rumors speak among themselves, it becomes very clear, crystal clear, that the kind of attachment that once existed is unraveling. Where they had once supported each other's pipe dreams, fights now break out as they see each other through Hickey's eyes. The party begins, but the celebration is dampened by Hickey's continual appraisals regarding the dark truth of each person's situation. As anger at Hickey grows, Larry asks Hickey if this time he really did find his wife in bed with Iceman. Hickey tells them Evelyn is dead. Evelyn is no more. All are immediately sorry for their anger, but Hickey says he is not at all sad. His wife is finally rid of him and she is at peace. Second act ends here. Third act, second last act of this play, Harry Hope's saloon. The next morning, Larry, Rocky, Parrot, and a number of the other rumors, they are present. Rocky and Larry discuss the previous night's party, which broke up quite early because of Hickey's constant badgering. Parrot persists in his attempt to forge a relationship with Larry. While he had previously told Larry that he ratted his mother out for ideological reasons, he now admits that he did it only because he could use the reward money for on a prostitute. Larry hints that if Parrot had any sense of humor, he should end his life immediately. As some of the regulars arrive, it becomes quite clear that Hickey has turned former friends against one another. Each while still hanging on to the promise of his own pipe dream, now accuses the others of fooling themselves. Some of the regulars, some of the drunkards come in with clean clothes, ready to go out into the world, proving to Hickey that their pipe dreams can come true. Most, most of the characters turn in the keys to their rooms, proclaiming that they will never return to Harry Hope's saloon. Hickey enters and he says that all will return when they realize that nothing will ever come of their pipe dreams. And Hickey says that Larry will finally face the fact that he is also kidding himself. Hickey characterizes Larry as an old man afraid to die. Harry Hope, who has not left the saloon since the death of his wife 12 years earlier, now walks outside to prove that he can go out into the world again. But he soon returns depressed and miserable, just as Hickey claims that Harry Hope can now be at peace. But further, Larry tells Hickey that all that he has brought Harry Hope is the peace of death. Then confronts Hickey with his own belief that Hickey drove his wife to suicide. Hickey tells Larry that his wife was murdered, that the police don't know who did it, but that they soon will find it out. Parrot, meanwhile, becomes really shocked and harassed, agitated at the talk of the murder and the proclaims that he did not kill the mother. This act ends with Hickey expressing a concern that the death of Harry Hope's pipe dream has not made him happy. The last act of this play, Act 4. Once again, the setting is Harry Hope's saloon, but it is quite early in the morning. It's almost 1:30 in the morning. All of the roomers, all the characters are sitting at tables. Almost all of them are drinking heavily. They have returned from their failed attempts to realize their pipe dreams. Parrot claims that while Larry now realizes that he does not have the courage to die, Larry believes that Parrot should kill himself. Hickey has left to make a phone call, but returns and hears Larry contending that Hickey now realizes that the peace he proclaims is completely false. Hickey denies this, but then he says he does not understand why the rumors, now that their dreams are dashed, have not found happiness. Larry accuses Hickey of killing his wife because he found her in bed with the Iceman. Hickey admits that he killed his wife, that he had to because he loved her. If he had killed himself, it would have broken her heart. She should have believed she was to blame. Larry tells Hickey to be quiet, that he does not want to know. He does not want to be responsible for Hickey going to the electric chair. Two policemen, Moran and Laib, enter asking for Hickey. They received a call that Evelyn's murderer could be found in Harry Hope's saloon. Hickey then tells the others why he killed Evelyn. As a young man, he was considered wild, reviled by his hometown. Only Evelyn believed in him and loved her. She was the only person he loved very much. During their marriage, he drank and went to prostitutes, but Evelyn constantly believed his pipe dream that he would someday straighten up and become a good husband to her. Because of her continuing belief in him, he felt completely guilty, intensely guilty. One night, while she was asleep, he concluded that the only way to bring her peace was to keep her from uh, ever waking up. And that's why he shot her. Hickey's confession brings Parrot to admit that he also turned his mother in because he hated her. Remembering his last words to Evelyn, I quote, "Well, you know what you can do with your pipe dream now, you damned bitch," unquote. Hickey denies that he could ever have hated Evelyn and concludes that he must have been uh, completely mad, insane to kill her and call her a bitch. The remaining characters, the rumors in Harry Hope's saloon, seize on that statement, claiming that they knew Hickey must have been mad, crazy, but acted otherwise to humor him. The police take Hickey away. Parrot sees this situation as a parallel to Hickey's, except that he cannot claim his mother is at peace. For someone who loves freedom as she does, prison is worse than death. Larry finally tells Parrot that the only thing he can do is to kill himself. Parrot leaves as the rumors continue to claim a prior knowledge to Hickey's insanity. As they gradually resume their good-natured banter, Larry becomes more and more disturbed. He finally hears Parrot jumps off the fire escape and is horrified. He realizes that Hickey converted him also. He is no longer just an observer. By telling Parrot to kill himself, Larry has become an active participant in life. As the other characters who do not know of Parrot's death begin to sing, celebrating Harry Hope's birthday in happiness, in earnest, Larry stares out of the window and he's completely oblivious to the noise. That's the end of the play. I would like to make a few comments about this play. Although the Iceman Cometh was considered as a masterpiece of 20th century drama, American drama especially, when this play was first appeared on Broadway in 1946, its critical reception was mixed. By the time of the play's production, O'Neill was already a well-established playwright, a recipient of the Nobel Prize, and the Iceman Cometh marked the end of his 12-year absence from Broadway. One of the critics called Rosamund Goldmer, whose review for theater arts is reprinted in O'Neill and his plays. She mentioned that, I quote, O'Neill's return has done more than give the same or new season a fillip of interest. It has restored the theater something of its intrinsic structure, unquote. She further says that the Iceman Cometh is made of good theater substance, wonderful material for actors, wonderful dialogues, variety of characters, suspense and passion, etc. Another critic, quite important and prominent critic called Norman Berlin, in his book called Eugene O'Neill, he also quoted famous director called George Nathan, who remarked in his review of this production that the Iceman Cometh made the American plays seem like so much damp tissue paper. So there are various critics and scholars who have dealt with the Iceman Cometh. They have expressed their views about the Iceman Cometh in different manner. Now, I would like to take your attention to the themes. There are a number of themes, but broadly speaking, I would like to talk about three important themes of this play. The first theme of the play is the theme of hope and the American dream. The promise of the American dream, a goal of material prosperity and success, has long been regarded as a crucial element of American culture. For many, it is the possible of this dream that separates America from other nations. It is the hope of the downtrodden, the faith Americans have in their dream that given enough ambition and determination, absolutely anybody, anyone can make it, is almost religious in nature. For the inhabitants, for the number of characters in Harry Hope's saloon, this faith has led to despair. The dream has soared. O'Neill populates Harry Hope's saloon with characters from various different backgrounds, diverse backgrounds. Some, such as Willie Oban, who was a Harvard Law School graduate, and Jimmy Tomorrow, a former war correspondent, have come close to success, though it's ultimately eluded their grasp. Other characters, such as Joe Mott, by the way, I would like to mention that Joe Mott is the only Negro character in this play. Joe Mott in this play is the former proprietor of a Negro gambling house, and another character, Ed Mosher, a former circus man, have lived on the edge of respectability. Still, there are other characters such as the prostitutes, Cora, Maggie. They have lived lives of petty crime. What unites all these characters but Larry and Parrot, however, is a need to retain their pipe dream. Because if the dream is attainable, there is no hope for them. Almost all these characters see their failure as a personal issue, not a deficiency in the system. Jimmy tomorrow realizes that as long as he believes that he can quit drinking, uh, he can get his job back, he can resume his former place in society, he can live with his despair. The former anarchists, however, represent a different perspective. For anarchists, the American dream is a lie, and good can only come when all government is eliminated. Although this too is a dream, it flies in the face of the traditional American belief of individual success within the system. In the early decades of this century, anarchy and socialism were regarded as viable alternatives to an American social system. Almost many people believed as completely flawed. Uh, Alternative political beliefs were seen by many people as a new hope for America. But in the Iceman Cometh, O'Neill shows that this hope is no more attainable than the rumors' elusive dreams. Even those who believe that the American dream is an illusion have nothing to offer in its state. The next theme is the theme of death. Harry Hope's saloon. Larry points out at the right at the beginning of the play itself is a harmless as a graveyard. In a sense, uh, Harry Hope's saloon is a graveyard. The end of the Line Cafe, the Larry calls it as the graveyard. The saloon's inhabitants, almost number of characters in this play, cling to their pipe dreams, but their lives are essentially over. Death is the next step. Larry claims to hope for death. He welcomes it as a fine long sleep, and he says, I quote, I am damn tired, and it can't come very soon to me, unquote. As long as the rumors have their pipe dreams, they believe they can hold death at bay. But Hickey's arrival brings the reality of death. Hickey first brings a spiritual death, telling the rumors that their pipe dreams are completely useless, empty, no use. Later on, Hickey brings literal death into the world of Harry Hope's saloon. Not only is the news of Evelyn's murder is shattering, it ultimately paves the way for Parrot's death as well. Larry, who tells Parrot that his only solution is suicide, becomes Larry's executioner. After Parrot's death, Larry says, I quote, by God, I am the only real convert to death Hickey made here, unquote. No longer a mere observer, Larry's desire for death is now a reality. Number of critics have pointed out that the Iceman of the O'Neill's title is in fact death, the Grim Reaper. It is death that has come to Evelyn, sent by Hickey into the arms of the Iceman at last. And it is death that Hickey brings to Hope's saloon. However, as the play ends, the rumors are they are able to resume their pipe dreams, denying death access. Even Parrot's suicide is unnoticed by many characters except Larry. Hickey is able to return to his own pipe dream to deny his hatred uh, of Evelyn, as well as his responsibility for her death. He believes that he must have been mad, insane. Only Larry realizes that death has truly, really uh, uh, come to Harry Hope's uh, character. For him, that has changed almost everything. The last theme of this play is the theme of isolation. Uh, the characters in this play are isolated from mainstream society. This is absolutely clear right from the beginning of the play, when the curtain opens on the drunken sleeping men alone in the literal world of their pipe dreams. As the play progresses, the essential isolation of the characters becomes almost crystal clear. Even awake, each character remains caught in his or her own pipe dream. This is a sort of, let's say, friendship, a kind of healthy relationship among O'Neill's rumors or characters. But this small sense of community is revealed as a thin veneer following Hickey's arrival. His proclamations of false dreams reveal an underlying animosity. Forced to face their hopeless realities, the rumors fight among themselves until Hickey's departure allows them to return to their pipe dreams. Hickey also sees an end to his isolation. In his past visits, Hickey was satisfied with his superficial friendship with the rumors. Now, he claims to have given up on his pipe dream and is not at all happy, content with just changing his own life. In his search for relief from isolation, Hickey wants the rumors to come to his realization. His story about murdering Evelyn is an attempt to understand his pain he has felt. But the rumors make it clear that they do not want to hear him at all. Only when he declares that he must have been mad, insane, when he is willing to return to superficial relationships, he is once more accepted by the rumors. Larry, despite his efforts, develops a brief but real connection with Parrot. That connection, however, only brings him pain. But as the play closes, the rumors, the remaining characters who have their pipe dreams return to their thin sense of kind of relationship. But O'Neill reveals the depth of their isolation. When these rumors begin to sing in a celebration of Harry Hope's birthday, each sings a completely different song. Larry, meanwhile, is spiritually as well as physically isolated from the group. Each of the characters ends the play alone, isolated. Now, let's move further. Setting. there are four things. The style, the first is setting. The Iceman Cometh is set in the summer of 1912 in Harry Hope's saloon. A very small and awkward place in New York. All of the play's action takes place either in the bar or the back room of the saloon, visually affirming O'Neill's intention that the bar is a world unto itself. The condition of the bar reflects the hopeless squalor of the roomers' lives. O'Neill describes the walls and ceiling as once white, but now completely peeled, stained, dusty, and their color can be best described as dirty. Adding to the play's themes of alienation and isolation, the windows are so filthy that it is almost impossible to see the outside world through them. The bar is crowded with tables and chairs and number of characters, and the furniture so close together that it is very difficult squeeze to pass between them. This crowded condition adds to the suffocating nature of the bar. Its atmosphere of hopelessness and despair. Because the setting changes little throughout the play, the audience gains a gradual sense of the saloon's oppressiveness. The only major change in the setting occurs in Act 2, when the saloon is decorated for Harry Hope's birthday party. The room has been cleaned and the space has been cleared for dancing. Added props such as piano, etc., presents, and the birthday cake also contribute to the festive atmosphere. But this lighting or a sort of different kind of setting stands in a complete sharp contrast to the anger and accusations that evolve much later in the play. In this case, the party setting heightens the effect of the stage action with a visual contrast to the dark emotions that present themselves. In the last two acts of the play, the saloon resumes its atmosphere of dirt and despair. In fact, in the last act, when the rumors have come full circle and return to their pipe dreams, the set is once more as it appeared in Act 1, heightening the sense that little has really changed. Next point is time and the theater. A recurring criticism of the Iceman Committee is that at more than 4 hours running time, the play is simply too long. This begs the question, is it proper to fault a play for its length? Such a criticism may seem petty and is rarely leveled at novels or epics or poems. It is this sort of criticism, in fact, that brings into relief an important difference between drama and other forms of literature. Unlike other genres, a play, a drama is not the play's finished form. The final work is the production uh, that emerges that emerges from the text. A play exists in time in a way that other forms of literature do not. A production of the Iceman Cometh cannot be set aside like a let's say novel, paperback novel, to be picked up later at viewers' leisure, audiences' leisure, etc. An audience's liberty or ability to focus on the play over a continuous time period is a factor that must be taken into consideration. Directors also do consider attention spans. It is not at all uncommon for a director to provide his own criticism by cutting the playwright's dialogues. One director, in fact, managed to shave the running time of the Iceman Cometh by 1 hour through extensive script edits. It is important that any student of drama not arbitrarily set an ideal length for a play. It is more useful to consider the ultimate effect of the play's length. Does that length serve a useful purpose? In the Iceman Cometh, the length of the play adds to the feeling of oppressiveness and hopelessness. The continued repetition in O'Neill's dialogue, which is sometimes cut by directors who fail to grasp or understand, to perceive the meaning in its uh, ideas, they emphasizes the redundant, looping quality of the characters' lives, etc. The extreme length of the play contributes to the suffocating atmosphere of Harry Hope's saloon. Next point is symbolism. A symbol is, I am sure all of us know very well that a symbol is something that stands for or suggests something other than itself. In this play, the Iceman is a symbol of death. In the time of the period of play, before there were electric refrigerators, people owned ice boxes which kept food cold by keeping it in an enclosed space with large blocks of ice. The ice was delivered by the iceman who traveled from door to door. Right from the beginning of the play, the roomers look forward to Hickey's running gag about leaving his wife in bed with the Iceman. When they discover how much Hickey had changed, some begin to suspect that he did find his wife with the Iceman. The figure of the Iceman is easily associated with death. In Western culture, death is traditionally associated with cold. In addition, it was once customary to use ice to preserve corpses until they could be buried. From this practice comes the slang expressions to put someone on ice or to ice someone, both of which mean to kill or to kill someone. The Iceman Hickey left Evelyn with is death. When used in the title of this play with the word cometh, the implication is that the death comes in the present tense. It is always arriving for someone. At the end of the play, death comes for parrot. Larry expresses a longing for death. The Iceman, who will eventually come for everyone in the bar. The last point is the unities. I'm sure all of us know the three unities which Aristotle has mentioned in his Poetics. The unities are the three rules that govern classical drama. They are unity of time, unity of place, and unity of action. Unity of time generally means that the action of a play should take place within a 24-hour period. Unity of place means that the action of the play should take place in one location. And the last unity, unity of action, means that events must follow logically from one another. The concept of the unities originated in the writings of the Greek philosopher Aristotle in his Poetics, in his treatise called Poetics. But many people, many critics, many scholars consider Aristotle's discussion of the unities very descriptive. He is simply describing the dramatic style of his own time. During the Renaissance, however, these unities became prescriptive rules for playwrights to follow, particularly in Italy and France. Following excuse me, following the rule of the unities was supposed to make a play more believable, more realistic for the audience. In this play, in the Iceman Cometh, O'Neill very closely follows, or he adheres to these three unities. The play takes place in one location within a relatively short period of time and with events following absolutely logically from one another. O'Neill, greatly influenced by classical drama, may have used these unities in order to create an association between the Iceman Cometh and classical Greek tragedy. The unities can contribute to a sense of realism. The audience leaves the events as the characters leave them, and in this way experiences the stagnation and a despair of Harry Hope's saloon as if it were real. Thank you. Thank you very much. I would like to end my discussion with one important thing, that this play is adapted several times, and especially here the play was adapted as a film in 1973, and after 1973 as well, in 1986, in 2000, in 2004, it was adapted for a film. When it was adapted for the first time in 1973, it was directed by John Frankenheimer, famous director of The Manchurian Candidate. I'm sure all of you are well acquainted with the Manchurian Candidate. And in this adaptation, we find wonderful cast. Lee Marvin as Hickey, Robert Ryan as Larry Slade, and Jeff Bridges as Parrot. Number of characters, we can talk about it. if you are interested in this film adaptation, you can refer to IMDb app, on which you will get more details about this film adaptation. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much for your patient listening.
Prabhanjan, thank you very much. Well presented. We enjoyed
Thanks
it.
a lot. Thanks a lot.
Mohini, take over.
Yes. Prabhanjan, can you stop sharing screen?
Yeah, sure. Give me a second.
Yes. So thank you very much. Very detailed, very exhaustive presentation. So I'm sure that those of us who had not read the play and even knew nothing about it are now well equipped. So thank you. That was very comprehensive. Thank you very much. Satish and I went to see Long Day's Journey into Night, York, on Broadway. And it was, I gather, it was the first time it had been done without any cuts at all. So it was more than 4 hours long.
Yes.
The actors were so phenomenal. There was Brian Dennehy as O'Neill's father. There was Vanessa Redgrave as his mother. There was Robert Sean Leonard as O'Neill himself. It's so autobiographical. We all know that. So it was delightful to watch. But it takes a toll of the viewer, 4+ hours of concentration on this very serious stuff, So, you have already addressed that, of course, this thing about time, but these long plays and weighing heavy, pessimistic. So it's, quite a commitment, I think.
Yes.
And see that play, you're sort of asking for the burden, as it were. Anyway, so be it. That was what O'Neill was. So questions, folks? I did see one.
I think Uma has a question here, or rather she has said something. A most enjoyable presentation, so well arranged, thoroughly investigated and beautifully delivered. You have touched on so many aspects of drama. This is Uma has said that.
I thoroughly enjoyed it, and every bit was wonderful. Yeah, Mr. Mane has really done a very good presentation.
Actually,
Naresh Gulati has
just a minute,
said,
Satish, if I would like to add one.
Yes, go ahead.
Actually, while preparing this whole presentation, I was slightly worried about what would be the reaction from the audience, because since this play, as Mohini has rightly pointed out, that it's really very long and some kind of disturbing play, I was worried about what would be the reaction from the audience. But anyway,
no, but you have broken it up into sections, which helps a lot. Which helps a lot to go along with the narrative.
Yes. Prabhanjan, you did not take 4 hours over it.
Yeah.
Prabhanjan, are there any Indian language stage adaptations of this play?
Yes. As far as O'Neill's The Iceman Cometh is concerned, this play is not at all translated or used in any Indian languages. But O'Neill's a few plays are translated into Marathi. A few, not The Iceman Cometh, the other plays. There are 2 volumes.
I see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That is one. Okay. And Pradhan and Faroja Mullah say that most enjoyable presentation. They enjoyed it very much. Okay. I have a question to ask you.
Yeah.
Rather, it is Wispy's question. Wispy is a retired professor from Bombay. She said, does the name Hope, is it meant to be ironical?
Yeah. Yes. It is ironical. Yes.
It is, huh?
Yes.
And I remember reading somewhere that O'Neill tried to commit suicide or something about after this play somewhere. My memory is not very good on that. I remember somewhere reading that he tried to commit suicide.
In fact, O'Neill tried to commit suicide a few times. First, when he discovered about his mother's addiction.
Okay.
Later on, around 1930s, he tried to commit suicide.
No, this is saying that after he wrote this play, within a couple of months or two, the short time, he tried to commit suicide.
After this play?
Yes.
I'm not
That's
sure.
my memory of it. That's all. I'm sorry. It's got a memory like a sea otherwise.
No. I have gone through the biography of O'Neill by one or two writers, but I have never come across this reference that after the Iceman Cometh, he tried to commit suicide.
Okay.
Okay.
I may be wrong. Moini,
Other people, and folks, you're welcome to switch on your videos. Let's see you. Let's see your expressions. And
videos and your audios. Please go.
Yes, video, audio. Please switch on. Please join the discussion. And would somebody like to ask a question or make a comment?
Yes. Do you think this has any relevance in today's America? This kind of story, setting, lifestyle, whatever it is, do you think it has any relevance at all? Because even now you have youngsters, addicted to drugs and not doing too well in their employment or careers.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for this question. As far as the idea of American dream is concerned, it is this is my perception. It is not yet perished. Still, even today, many Americans.
You mean they're still dreaming?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. So in that sense, this play is quite relevant. And the ideas which O'Neill has tried to propagate through this play, they are universal.
Okay. By the way, Jyoti Puri is here from
Canada.
Canada. She's there. Would you like to say something, Jyoti?
Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. I had been missing certain sessions, but I think I would like to continue anyways to be with all of you. Thank you very much, Satish.
Lovely to have you, Jyoti.
Thank you, Jyoti.
Would
Please
you
join in regularly.
care to make a comment?
Not right away.
Okay. Sanjay, what about you? Would you like to make a comment?
Yeah, hi Satish, hi. Can you hear me?
Clearly.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, no, I've often wondered, does every successful American play needs to have a dysfunctional family as its cornerstone? If you look at, for instance, if you look at Death of a Salesman, All My Sons, Streetcar Named Desire, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, I mean, it goes on and on.
Any comment, any response, Prabhanjan?
So, ma'am, I request you to respond to this question because
see, okay, let me put it this way.
Yeah.
Sanjay, what
American literature. I think Prashant is with us. I think he would be the ultimate voice.
Prashant,
are you here?
Is he there?
I think so.
He was there. He was there. He's gone out, I think.
Because he's an American literature person.
He's in California.
No, I can't see him. I cannot see him. No, he's in Texas. He's in.
I think Jyoti wanted to say something to that.
Jyoti has her hand up, but I don't.
Yes. Shall I say something? No.
Yes.
I think somebody else is speaking.
Go ahead.
No, we're waiting for you.
Okay. Being here in Canada, I realized that the menace of drug and the alcohol is so much that maybe 30 to 40% people are being looked after by the government today, and you see them on the roads. They just like to steal anything and everything from you, and they want to just snatch. They think it's their right. They will sit anywhere, they will squat anywhere, and government is paying for whatever, for their living. They are housed in very good hotels. This is what the state is here. It's sorry state. Nobody is curbing it. Nobody is bothering about it to curb it.
More Prashant is here. Prashant?
Yeah. No, actually, I've been here for a long time, but since I'm using my cell phone, I'm totally confused about reaching out to you. First of all, it was an outstanding talk. Very, very good job, Prabhanjan. The next thing I want to add is about the family. I don't think it's true about all the American plays that they deal only with disrupted families. In fact, if you look at O'Neill's works, there are pages when he deals only with ships and sailors and so on. So that's not uniformly true. That's true of very many plays, but not of all of them. I just wanted to add one thing, and that is that in some ways, this play prepares for the theater of the absurd, in terms of isolation, inaction, and so on.
Yes.
But I repeat, it has been an outstanding talk, okay?
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks a lot.
And that word universal that we all love. I like to ask, is this a universal play? Is it applicable to everyone, everywhere? So I think it is a play which sort of transcends its limitations. It goes beyond the here and now. It has a certain setting in a certain time with certain characters, but it goes beyond that, doesn't it?
Yeah, obviously.
I think you will agree. It is about life in general. It applies to everyone, right? So, and as Prashant says, this thing about isolation, I mean, the loneliness of the human being, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, the loneliness of the human being, the strife that we have to face in life, the disappointments, the secrets that we keep from ourselves,
Yes.
all those kinds of things. So I think that's O'Neill is a great playwright because he can do this, because he does this. He gives us a specific story with specific characters, but it is universal. It goes way beyond its boundaries. So I think this is a play that has done that.
Yes.
It would be interesting to see it enacted.
Does he know? Anyone else willing to take any comments? More, I think you take over.
This is not a play that a lot of people would be very familiar with, I think. I can imagine that many of us have not read it. I mean, I had not.
Yes.
I've read other plays by O'Neill, but not this. Okay, so Prabhanjan, thank you so much. As I said, very comprehensive presentation. So we came here knowing nothing, and we're going away knowing a fair bit, all because of you. Thank you.
I have tried my level best to make a comment with O'Neill's The Iceman Cometh. Thanks a lot for appreciating my.
No, very much. It is worthy of appreciation. Definitely got the appreciation. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you thank you to Prabhanjan first and foremost, and to everybody who is here. We have Badri Baldava with us today. He is the speaker next Sunday, and tonight I will be sharing some pages from his book so that you will have an idea of what the book is like, and you'll be a little more prepared to join the discussion next Sunday, right? So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And all the
All
best.
the very best. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye. Abid, thank you for being here. Thank you for facilitating things. Farooq is not with us today, I think. Okay, then bye-bye, everyone.
Bye,
Good
everyone.
night.
Bye.